something has happened that you don't really hear anybody in the press talking about. Something that is kind of connected to this whole thing that you talked about dealing with prison. There has been, I think, out of the federal system, about 100,000 people a year or something like that that's being released each year into the public. And the problem is that mayors have gotten together and said that, hey, this is not working for us because a lot of these people are coming back to these quote-unquote urban areas, which means cities, and they are just repeating and going right back into jail. Now, from California, they're talking about it costs somewhere between maybe $35,000 to $40,000. New York State is $48,000 to keep a person in prison. So it's to our advantage to do something what? To keep them out of prison. So this is why we're kind of happy to see this new law that that's coming into effect, the Second Chance Act of 2007. And we actually can say Charles Rangel actually did something finally that made some sense.
Yeah, it's an excellent idea. I'm really surprised we haven't heard more about it because it's something. I think I heard a little blurb on one of the people, the people in Congress that was signing off on it. So, but they had mentioned the fact that now they're looking to make sure that there is some sort of rehabilitation or training or something to help people who are coming out of prison get acclimated once they come out, because you can't, if you give somebody $200 and, send them out into the world and expect them, they have no job, they're trying to get back to their family, some of them may not have family, and you're expecting them to succeed. It's kind of a pointless wish, a hopeful wish.
Well, I mean, this is the excellent thing because they have to address the whole idea of recidivism or people going back to jail. Obviously, and one of the things that made me angry about this whole thing is that you can find a job in jail, as you've been watching, and you know that the prison industrial complex, all of us should know about Unicor. If you don't know what Unicor is, it's the federal government's management organization that manages their products that they produce in prisons using prison labor, which is contracted out to corporations, which we told you about before. Because you've been watching. Okay, and so you look up and you Google Unicor and then educate yourself on the products that are being made in prisons. And I understand that somebody sent me an email, and I'm going to address your email, that you said to me that prison is supposed to be for people to work hard or whatever. Yes, work hard, but not for free. Would you want to be in prison and work for free for a corporation? Do you work for free for a corporation when you're not in prison? Okay, so you expect something out of your labor.
Yeah.
Because if you don't get some out of your labor, that's called slavery, isn't it? Okay.
And what I found was interesting is that it is actually in some cases forced labor, because you mentioned on the last show about the people who want to communicate with their family, and they had companies like MCI that were overcharging in certain areas. Some of them were adding $1 or a minute more onto each call so that they could overcharge them. And I mean, you're in prison, so you have no choice. If you want to make the phone call, you have to pay whatever they do. But I also read that they also had people who were being charged for services. Like if you wanted to go to the prison law library, you had to pay a fee. So you're not, where else is the money going to come from unless you work for some of these operations that you're referring to?
Well, people don't realize in New York State, the only reason that the law changed pertaining to them using the payphones in the system is that there was a lawsuit that was filed against the state because of the usury charged by MCI for people to make a phone call home to their family. The one connection you have to your family is the phone. They don't have cell phones in jail. You don't have a cell phone plan in jail, at least not yet. They probably haven't figured a way to make a buck off of it yet and stuff. So the thing that I think is very important about this law, that you have a percentage of people that are first-time offenders, drug offenders, and they're locking these people up. What they didn't address in the law were the mentally ill people that they have locked up in prisons and stuff, and they haven't addressed that particular issue because we closed all our mental hospitals and they're throwing them in jail to deal with that particular issue, and they're not dealing with the mentally ill in prison.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that the people are getting the drug rehab and the treatment that they need, because they were talking about the number of beds within the federal program is shrinking. And the idea to lock somebody up and think that's going to cure their addiction is not going to get it done and stuff. And so I also think another aspect of it is that I'm kind of worried about is the Attorney General's oversight. The Attorney General's oversight. So when this law goes into effect, I don't even know who the Attorney General is now. I know it's one of Giuliani's boys. I can't remember his name. But they're going to be reporting information back to the Attorney General, and they're going to be making the revisions of what's happening. The other thing that I'm concerned about is, just like with Katrina, A lot of money is going to be going to nonprofit organizations to push this thing forward in terms of them coming back into the communities and working. We see what happened with Katrina. Billions of dollars have been spent down there, and the knife war still looks like it's been bombed out and stuff. So it doesn't, just because they're giving money to nonprofit organizations doesn't mean that the money is going to get where it needs to go. So I'm concerned about the county aspect of it and the accountability aspect of the law, because it's too critical for our communities, which warehouses these brothers for the little time that they stay out of jail, and sisters, and when they go back in. And it's our communities that are the ones that are affected.
Yeah, and the idea of giving it to nonprofits, I think, is a good idea, only because if you are a nonprofit, that isn't your motivating force like some of these other, you know, or companies that you're talking about that are making a buck within prison. Your success at what you do is what raises you up in your arena, or in your area of the corporate world. So these people, if they are successful in preventing recidivism, or they're successful in making sure that people come out and have, you know, success stories of turning their life around, those are going to be the positive aspects. But like you said, the oversight of the money is going to be very important, because if you're going to be putting billions of dollars into a project that's this important, you have to make sure that it is accountable for.
Now, there's something else that someone actually heard people complaining about. Why can't people get jobs, Lori? Because they have what? They have a record. You have a record. So now the bill has a component within it to expunge their records. Finally. Okay. Now, the bill is so immense that I didn't have a chance to break it down. You know, I'm not a genius. Some of this stuff is written so complex that it's hard for you to understand everything. But I do know that will give them an opportunity to expunge their record, and that is very important.
Yeah.
Because there's some people, there was a guy on the internet talking about they can expunge your record for $400, but that's just for one state. Imagine if you know, so you got to pay, you know, thousands to be expunged to the United States. So at least this will give somebody an opportunity, a real second chance, so that they can hold your past against you.